Good morning. Several months back, I bought a Solo stove. I think I've got a video somewhere of me unboxing it. It's been so long since I unboxed it that I'm not sure about the video. So I'm going to make this quick introduction. I wanted a stove, a camp stove that I could take with me that I did not have to use the gas bottles with. Later, after I get back from testing this, I'll have a gas bottle one set up to show you the differences. They obviously have a probably a little more controllable, a little hotter, maybe brighter fire. The problem is those bottles are $5 or $6 or $7 depending on where you get them, and you can boil 2 or 3 cups of water with them, maybe 4, and then you're out of gas. And the reason that I wanted this Solo stove is I've looked at several of what they call the biofuel stoves. The biofuel means that it basically burns the stuff you pick up off the ground, sticks and debris. You could burn, I suppose, wood scraps in it, something like that. Sticks is the thing most people will burn. And there's an endless supply of those in the event that we have some kind of a catastrophe situation where you don't have any availability to power and you're either having to bug out or bug in. I think of mine more as bug in. You know, in a bug in situation, I'll have shelter, I'll have protection, I'll have food, I'll have water, but I'll still at some point need a good cooking and sterilizing source. And I've got, you know, propane, and I've got the small butane stoves and stuff, but I want something that I can use that I don't have to count on being able to get the fuel source from a third party. I don't want to have to go buy a butane canister or try to have a propane canister filled up in the event that we have a long-term situation where I'm required to basically scavenge or forage or whatever you want to call it for a fuel source. So I looked at several of these, and this one is cheap. And in my opinion, sorry, I was trying to turn on my light and cut off my power. Get this going again. The Solo stove is seamless. I believe it's a one-piece. I don't know if it's extruded or die stamped stainless steel. And this is your lid or your pot holder, whatever I'm trying to say, that you would actually set your cooking pot on top of. Down inside it, it has the screen to hold the fuel up off of the bottom of the stove so that the airflow from the outer and inner vents will allow it to work. I hate to say it, but kind of like a big green egg. I hate to say big green egg because, you know, I'm not trying to compare the products other than they're both designed to draw air up from the bottom and through to the top to make a more efficient burn. Like I say, this stores inside of it, but it turns upside down like this when you're using it. I'm going to set it down here on the desk. This is just a cheap Walmart cup that I bought for it that was set on top of it. And of course, pretty much every video you see on these, they boil water. That's probably what I'll do too. I mean, I just don't know of any other, you know, good visual reference for you. But hopefully this will be in there with my unpacking video, and I'll try to edit it down. And then the field use of this today, it's finally, after 2 months or better, got dry enough outside. I think I can find some dry sticks, and I didn't want to try to do this with wet wood. But anyway, I'm gonna use this out at the range, and there's a lot of area out there that's wilderness, and then I'm gonna come back on with some final thoughts after I'm done. A little bit of kindle or tinder and some bigger sticks. Got a little fire starting block I stuck down the bottom of it, part of one of these little zip sticks. Just, it's windy out here, and it hasn't rained in 2 or 3 days, but it's been raining here off and on literally for 3 months. So I think this stuff is dry enough to burn, but I'm going to cheat and use a little bit of the fire starter block anyway, just to get things going. That's impressive, that the little zip stick deals there. And actually, looks like I could have used a little less than, I used about 1/3 of one of these, and
looks like I could have used a little less than that. But anyway, the way that this draws from the bottom up, once this thing gets going, it is pretty self-sustaining. I mean, I've not seen any reviews or anyone that's used one where they've had any problems with them going out. I am going to try to start getting some of the littler sticks in here. And I'm going to move that down just a little bit. It's a little closer to me than I want it. It's already putting off an incredible amount of heat, and really the fuel itself is just now getting going. But it is incredibly easy to light, and I can actually see the vent system working, because if you were able to look straight down in here, even with this unbelievable wind that's out here today, you can actually see the air drawn through those top holes, and see that that's where the fire is hottest, is right there at the wind source. Had to block that wind for just a second. This thing's incredible. It didn't take any time at all to get the fire going. I really expected to have to mess with it more than that. And I'm now burning wood, not the fire starting sticks. And you can see that even with this strong wind out here, this thing's not going out, and it's got quite a hot flame. This is the lid that goes on it, and drops on there like that. Also kind of helps a little bit with the wind. And then I'm going to go ahead like everybody else does. It's probably really about the only test a guy can do out here that gives much of a visual, is to boil a little bit of water. So I've got my Walmart cup here. I'll set it on there. I think my partner's not too convinced that's going to stay. It about didn't when he got up. So anyway, I'm going to set that on there and heat that water. This thing, one of the things that's got a pretty smart design on it is it's actually got a window there, so you can continue to throw throw your fuel in while it's burning. I don't know how long it's going to take to. I should have started my stopwatch there. I will start it now. Okay, I started now, so I mean it's got a couple minute head start on me there from my stopwatch, but we will watch it and see just how long it takes to get that going to a boil. I would guess that it'll probably take 5 to 7 minutes. So what I'm going to do, I don't know if you can see the watch or not, but the watch right now is on 24 seconds. I'm going to shut the camera off, and then I'll be back on when it's boiling, so that you don't have to just sit there and watch 5 minutes of water boiling. Okay, looks like we're headed into 3 minutes. It was probably on there for a couple minutes, but I mean, there it is. That water's boiling right now, and it's only going to boil more. Now that's only about a half a cup of water. I'm sure you'd have to add a little bit, but I also haven't used much of my sticks. I mean, I've still got quite a bit of fuel left there, and I mean, you can see that's actually a good roll and boil now. That's not just bubbles. I mean, that's definitely a full boil. That was my fault there. You can see I've still got almost all of my fuel in the stove too. I mean, I could not only, have something going as far as like a hot meal there, or a hot drink, or just sterilizing if that happened to be, water like creek water or something. But I also could turn right around and I think do that 2 or 3 more times just from just from the fuel that I put in there. Plus, like I say, out of that little handful, I've still got at least half of it left. The other thing about it is it's a strong wind out here. I know you saw that flame moving around a while ago. And I mean, that's this thing's still burning good. It's full of hot coals down there on the bottom. The flames are starting to die off a little since I pulled the thing off the top. And I mean, I probably need some more fuel in there to get it to flame back up, but I'm actually done with it, so I'm gonna let it burn out. But that boiled that water in about 5 minutes to a full-blown boil. And like I say, that's just impressive. And I'm not kidding you, there's still a little bit of moisture in this wood out here. We've had the most amazing run of storms for the last, 2.5, 3 months. I mean, we've had way more days where it's poured down rain than we have dry. So anyway, I'll see you back at the house.
Good afternoon, I'm back from the range. What a hot and windy day out there. It's been such strange weather here this year. We've had just unbelievable amounts of rain. I mean, I don't understand it because supposedly we're still behind, but yet it has rained off and on almost every day for months. And anyway, the last 2 or 3 days it dried out. It turned just incredibly hot. But that did allow some of the sticks and twigs to dry up. I was able to get a good fire going. Actually, almost intimidating. I have never used one of those before. I've used the homemade stuff where you make it out of a paint can or a bean can or something, and I've used some other things like it. I've never seen one that was designed to draw up the flame like that and work that well. The thing's incredible. I boiled that water in about 5 minutes. Now, I know it wasn't a full cup of water, but I mean, I was expecting it to take 7 or 8 and 10 or 12 if it had been full. The thing burns amazingly hot. That was dry wood. It wasn't green wood, but it also wasn't anything. I didn't use any like special like fat wood or anything like that to make that heat. That was just sticks I picked up right there at the range. And like I say, once I got it lit, I did use a fire starting, a little block to start the fire. But once I got that going, it was, like I say, it was incredible. This is the brand of fire starters that I use, Zip, and they work great. I've used them for a long time, and all I did was just break off a part of one of those. That a big one would start a whole campfire with no problem. So anyway, and then after that it was just a matter of feeding in the twigs. I only used about half of what I collected. This thing is I'm telling you, it's built like Fort Knox. It's incredible. It doesn't have any seams that I can find or any kind of pop rivets or spot rivets or anything. It's a little wet. I dumped that water in it to cool it down out there. It's stainless steel, so I don't figure that's going to hurt anything. And it actually, I mean, it blacked up some, but not as bad as I thought. I haven't even wiped it off. I just stuck it back in my little carry bag. It comes with a pretty nice carry bag that's got a pull top on it. Conveniently, of course, has their logo on it, which is fine. And it says backpack, camp, and survive. To me, the biggest issue with this is as a survival tool. I mean, when I backpack, I'll probably carry this just because it's cheap and it's a lot easier to find sticks than it is to try to find an alternate source if you run out of the butane. But my main point in this is to have it at the house. Like I say, just in case we have a extended period where a guy can't get to the utilities, and you don't want to have to burn up, propane and butane and stuff like that. Or if you start with that, you're liable to run out of it. Anyway, it did get quite a bit of black on my cup, but I mean, that always happens. That happens when you stick them in the campfire too. This was $4.88 at Walmart, and I would like to have, some of the ones have like a ridge on the bottom that kind of helps balance them on these little stoves. This one's completely flat down there, but it didn't fall. I did spill it once when I reached for it. I didn't have my glasses on and my hands, I hit the handle before I grabbed it. But anyway, this thing's rock solid. I mean, even after having all that fire in it, there's no warping or anything. I highly recommend this, and it's cheap too. I mean, when you figure this will probably last the rest of your life, and you'll never have to buy any kind of fuel for it, probably never have to replace that stainless steel grate in there. There's no way it's going to rust, and it's under $100. I think it seems like it's only $69 or $79, and I mean, truthfully, milk's $5 a gallon, gas is $3.50. You know, I mean, you're talking about one time filling your car, and you can have this thing that'll last the rest of your life and get you by in an emergency. I mean, you could boil water if you had to have clean water to drink. You could boil water if you had to sterilize something. You could boil water to cook. I believe there's no way in the world I'd have any trouble putting an egg or two in there and boiling an egg. I imagine I could throw some olive oil in this cup and drop a couple of eggs in there and make a couple of eggs with no problems. I mean, there's a lot you could do with this. It also, I think, would throw out a considerable amount of heat, although it smokes enough that I wouldn't want to use it in a tent, but then I wouldn't want to use a propane or a butane one either. So, like I say, I think this has got a lot going for it and nothing going against it. I mean, I can't think of anything that's a negative in it. Like I say, there's no rivets, there's no seams, there's no metal to rust, there's no paint. It's dirt cheap, it's going to last forever, and the fuel's free. So I highly recommend you put one of these with your bug out, bug in kit. And like I say, I think if you ever need it, you'll be glad you got it. Anyway, I appreciate you watching my videos, and I'll try to get some more up and try to get back into holster production soon.